So, today is May the 24th, 2021, and what that means is Robert Zimmerman celebrates his 80th birthday today. You may know him better by his stage name, Bob Dylan, and I'm going to make a cocktail to celebrate his birthday. I'm a big fan of Bob Dylan, but I may not be quite as big a fan as Kate, who I went to see Bob with her a few years ago in LA, and I've talked about that in another video. That's the only time I've seen him. It's at least her 30th time that she's seen him, and I guess it's a real shame that her birthday is just one day later than this, but maybe this is good preparation. Anyway, I'm listening to Bob at the moment. I've got this album on. This is my signed album by Bob Dylan. It's John Wesley Harding, and you can maybe see the signature there. Let's see if I've got the right side, just there. It is a signature, and one of Bob Dylan's signatures does look somewhat like that, but I feel it was probably signed by someone else pretending it was signed by him himself. Nonetheless, this is a signed Bob Dylan album. And yeah, I always did listen to Bob Dylan. I didn't possess an album of his for quite a while, but when I was at university, I'd made a cassette recording of my parents' greatest hits of Bob Dylan, and I used to listen to that all the time. That and Talking Heads, Little Creatures, and also a compilation album by Beggar's Banquet that included bands like Gene Loves Jezebel, Love and Rockets, Pete Murphy, and the like. And the great thing about tapes in those days was that really you press play and you had to listen to the whole thing through, because you couldn't really easily find where each individual track was. It wasn't like when you're streaming you can just press, oh, skip. You didn't skip, you listen to the whole thing. And what that does for you, much like records, is it makes you listen to the whole thing in order. And I think we lose something when you don't get the whole concept of an album as the artist maybe intended it to be, in the order they intended it to be. But anyway, this has not got much to do with the drink, does it? That's just my own personal rant. I found out that Bob Dylan, when he was originally touring and he was met with the Beatles, and they let it be known that his favourite drink was cheap red wine. I thought, shall I make a drink with that? And I was like, no. And then I found, by searching through the internet, of course, on a radio show, he announced that his favourite cocktail was actually a mint julep. And that's a fairly easy drink to make, and it's a lovely drink as now we're getting into summer. So I think we're just going to go ahead and make that. What you need for that is some crushed ice. I've already got some. My ice machine in my fridge freezer kind of crushes it for me. Otherwise you can stick it in a bag and bash it with, I don't know, something like a muddler or something heavy, or just smash it on the ground in the bag and it'll get all crushed and be fantastic that way. So it's a mint julep. What we're going to add is just a couple of ingredients first, and I'm not going to, oh my gosh, it was an American recipe, so it's all a tablespoon of this, tablespoon, what is that? Well, it turns out 1 tablespoon of water is about 15 mils of water. We're just going to pour that into the glass, and then a similar amount of powdered sugar. I mean, what, we're going to travel several fathoms or leagues to find this stuff? You know, they talk about cups and measurements. It's ridiculous. 15 mils, about half an ounce. Isn't that a bit easier? I think so. Anyway, about half an ounce, a tablespoon, or 15 mils of powdered sugar. And then I got a mint plant here, because it takes mint in there as well. I'm going to get a few leaves, and this is a super appropriate mint to get. It's called Kentucky Colonel, and of course the mint julep is a famous drink at the Kentucky Derby, the horse race. So you put about 3 or 4 leaves in like so, and I am just going to gently muddle that. You don't want to go too crazy, but this is really the only thing that is going to go with the whiskey that we're going to use. This is a bourbon drink, but you want the sugar to dissolve, and that's why you have the powdered sugar. You can use sugar syrup, and you can infuse it with mint as well, but to be honest, I don't know that I want to go. This is what Bob did. I don't know if he even muddled it. He may have just thrown them in, but these are the ingredients that the man himself told us, so that's what we're sticking with. Anyway, that is nicely muddled. We're going to now start putting in some of this crushed ice, and you want to put a fair amount in. In the end, you're going to have it really sort of stacked fairly high with this crushed ice. And I should have got myself a bigger spoon, obviously, because this is just taking forever. And there we go, that's quite good, because A julep is a type of drink, and it's essentially just liquor and sugar. That's essentially it, with ice and maybe other things, but that's essentially a julep. And then the amount of whiskey. Turns out, Bob says, oh yeah, 2.5 ounces, but I prefer 3. Okay, in which case we are going to pour 3 ounces of bourbon. This is a straight bourbon. This is actually a Seattle whiskey I've got. It's given to me as a present, straight bourbon whiskey by 2 Bar Spirits. And it's not bad, actually. It's all made with Washington or Oregon grains. Mostly Washington, I think just 5% from Oregon, as I recall. Anyway, we're going to put 3 ounces of that in there, and then we're going to get a spoon. What you have to do, I do not have there's a julep glass mug, which is a kind of silver mug you can use. I don't have one of those. I'm just going to stir this, and you're supposed to stir this until it's really cold, and I'm going to keep on going. That's why the crushed ice really helps. That's the only way you're going to dilute the whiskey in there. And this whiskey is 100 proof, which is 50% ABV, which is what's recommended for this drink. Oh, that is about 30 seconds to get this chilled, and I think we're pretty close to this. It's getting really nice and chilly on the outside. That's important. There you go, you get that right like that, and then you top it up with just a bit more ice, like so. You can use a straw. Bob says to use a straw, and I'm just not going to go with it. I don't like using straws. I like just drinking straight from the glass. Oh, look at that. That's a marvelous looking drink. We're just going to add one more thing, which is a sprig of mint by way of decoration on the top. And here it is. Yum. Happy birthday, Bob.